Oh, how long through the cosmic void I've wandered, seeking any respite from this eternal night, any piece of rock upon which the sun bestows his blessing, my dizzying lack of orbit snatching even dreams away. So long ago it feels, though how long to me remains obscured, when I soared through terrestrial skies, a warrior true, my wings a blazing sigil, casting shadowed fear upon the unspeakable enemy, misers of Energon, those who darkened the Allspark, dooming our land of Cybertron into dark oblivion, once lush and green, now craggy stone. Through their wretched hoarding, they sentenced us to death, taking and taking, be it Energon cubes or my brothers' lives, sitting on their silver thrones as husk our land became. And in the face of eternal night, I saw the final truth, like milk in the burning sun, how bravery spoils to cowardice when confronted by an inescapable end. For I, once the dutiful soldier, became the scurrying gutter rat in Cybertron's final hours. A shining light arrived for the chosen few. For those elite, the warriors of status and high station. And in that light, my mind too suddenly became illuminated. For I realized that all men must be born of the same spark, built of the same iron, driven by the same energon. Until we believe that echoing lie of duty, handed down from liar king to liar king, as then is now, as soldier after soldier falls upon his duty's blade, the two of them enslaved to that lie of the High King of Cybertron. But now Cybertron is but dust and rubble, a floating tomb for those poor victims of duty. And as I bade it such a fitting farewell from my pod, soaring from my doom as my king, wrenched away from his deliverance by mine own hand, screamed and raged and shrank away below me, I drank in my freedom. For I need never serve again another king of Cybertron. But now, unless my photoreceptors are bewitched, a new and virgin world do I spy. One blue and green, and ripe for my desires, untouched by Decepticon hand nor Autobot fist, so far free of the Allspark's natural strife. As my mind turns, so too must my rusted wings and my rocket jets, cracked and brown with disuse. Barring competing arrival by other orphan sons of Cybertron, this new and fertile land is mine for the taking. And once again my duty rears its shackled head, this time in service to no king but I. In the eternal words of Decepticon, I cry out, transform and rise up. So I shall. So I shall. And this new world will know the wrath and might of Starskream. More than meets the eye. Before time began.
When life on Earth was barely new, blood was smeared across the stars. Organics still were learning war,
while other life had made it art.
A deadly dance in deepest black, performed by those with cause to fight.
In the void there was but one, the Allspark, with its holy task to usher forth all cyber life.
And with it, folly, fear, and strife.
The spark brought forth two dueling tribes, Decepticons
and Autobots.
And Energon, their food and fuel, the precious substance of all life.
And in the war, both sword and spoils.
Into this war came forth two souls, brothers born in battle pure. Side by side they fought and bled, and side by side they forged their names.
One was called Orion Pax,
the other known as D16.
Together they sought warring's end.
And
The eye.
Alas, that peace was not to be, for it was not the Allspark's will. As life it brings, so does it death.
And with war ceasing turns peculiar.
In this new unnatural peace, the spark ceased its rhythm with warning not.
The energon would not flow forth, and so the land began to die.
Not long was it before Orion, known as Peace's architect, was raised to king and christened so as
Optymus of Cybertron. He declared a rule of law, that Energon must be preserved no matter who that meant would die.
D16 was struck by rage as people starved on streets of steel.
He tore into the city's center, backed by desperate, hungry mobs.
And claimed that Optimus was weak. He raised himself to his own throne, dubbing himself Maegatron.
More than meets the eye.
And just as soon as it had come, that peace hard fought so slipped away.
Decepticons, once thought suppressed, rose to Megatron's command.
Autobots in quick reply were rallied back by Optimus. The land was razed and turned to ruin. Cybertron became a grave.
And to the few that would escape, a bitter, distant memory.
Decepticon and Autobot, opposing titles of one race.
Their conflict in eternal echo, the legend that defines their name.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the rival forces of the Decepticons. Stand and fight against the choking power of the Autobots. Transformers, last ones of their kind. Transformers, all but left behind. Autobots scan the stars most desperately. Their gone and fallen friends, the Decepticons, long for any aching echo of their shattered home. More than meets, more than meets, more than meets the eye. Transformers.
Dark doom has fallen upon Cybertron, just as Optimus said. He warned all, but the fools did not listen, preferring instead to jump to battle, burning resources twice as fast, squandering the last of our planet's lifeblood on war and violence, which in itself does not me irk. For pleasure, I'll admit, I took upon the field of battle, cutting down Decepticon after Decepticon with speed that surely must be the stuff of a legend. Or at least it would be, if those still lived that maintained such records. Still, what fools were those that squandered our last collective breath? Their short sight, a malfunction even Ratchet could not repair. I curse their names. Those that would use their water's final dregs to wash their faces in the desert sun, dash scarce coolant to the ground without second mind, and take our planet's precious energon and forge it into blades for wars already fought. Battle is not sought out by heroes, as my king is always quick to say, but I was not the one seeking when the battle arrived at my doorstep. And when the first Decepticon blade fell upon me, I sought nothing but to continue living. And it was my blade that sought the chest of that scum who would assault my brothers for the vision of a power-hungry dog, a twisted mongrel mad with envy, who pressed the people to his service with lies. Because of him, we found this place. Where that may be, on my guess I shan't rely. Never on Cybertron did I see such a sea as this, that stretches on forever into the outstretched horizon, nor creatures moving in this frightful way, taking flight in eerie silence, only to cry out once they reach the sky and dive down, snatching up silver streaks from these unknown depths. Their bodies move with unnatural flow, like they themselves were water-made metal, if metal indeed they even are, for their servos remain as yet to me hidden. Still, these new beings are of far less interest to me than the one I already know. From the jaws of Cybertron's doom there flew two pods. One I know with intimacy, as within it I arrived mere moments ago. The other remains to me a mystery in whereabouts, if not contents. For this last pod was the unworthy chariot of my king himself. Optimus, survive you the crash. For this war has found itself upon a new field, and mine is not the strength it takes to lead.
I am alive. though I must disagree on both your counts. You have strength you know not of, as do all those who take up arms and defend their home, and the war did not escape with us. 2 parts there were, said you yourself, rode one eye, as you did the other. See you a third standing on this beach. I do not. Not war especially. Bloodshed did not dance narrowly from death, nor did strife, nor did conflict. But you and I, Bumbylbe, you and I stand here. And that itself is the Allspark's final gift, one we must not waste. The battle we have fought is ended at last. Let's take that as a sign to rest. We fought and killed so we may live. Now living is the fight itself. A new home we must here make, not through conquest nor through fear, but through humility and peace. The battle at last is over, so we may now rebuild. Our struggle is at last at rest. Let us follow its example and catch our breath at last. Your skills in battle have served us well at home, but home is gone, and it's never coming back.
Well, speak you with too much haste, my liege. You and I are here, it's true, but to say no others survive with us is folly. We must complete a scan before deciding on our course. Perhaps our comrades fell upon this land without our knowledge.
Do as you see fit, Lieutenant, but be warned, the truth once known cannot be lured away.
The scan completes. The readout displays a bleak picture. No Autobot signal survives. Only you and I.
As I thought. I'm sorry, old friend.
Your sorrow is yet in haste, for look, the faintest signal, yet it's there, and another, and yes, still a third. 3 distinct signals, their origin undeniably that of Mother Cybertron. We must investigate this at once, and be quick to offer aid. I have no doubt this planet hides many dangers. Let us away.
A stirring revelation, but beware. A sign of Cybertron is not one of a friend. You know as well as I do how good fortune can transform even light years away. A shadow forever changing and malleable. For foes' main secret walk this new world. And their signals marking them a friend, waiting patiently to strike. And bring our newfound peace to ruin.
Give me leave. I beg of you to find their sources, and upon my learning signal you. For if Decepticons upon this planet be, then they will meet no fate but doom. My blade already itches at the prospect of teaching them what vengeance truly means.
Bumbylbe, ever were you eager to a fault. After all we suffered, seek you battle still?
I do not understand you. Why should I not claim my retribution?
After burying so many of our brothers, you seek not peace but a new spade, desiring to entune more. My mentor Alpha Trion spoke it thus: let battle be your duty, but peace be your only goal. Through some inscrutable twist of fate, we have found our goal. One day our battle dutifully rages, the next, you and I stand here. We must not be wasting this chance we've been given, to turn our backs on the mistakes of the past and look instead to a brighter tomorrow, where all sons of Cybertron can be brothers once again. Autobots and Decepticons.
Brothers. You consider them our brothers.
Bumbylbe.
Hear I you correctly. Assure me, please, that my audio sensors do not malfunction when I hear the Prime himself call Decepticons our brothers. Say it was, I beg of you, the impact from that tragic landing that renders me a drooling simpleton, my processor laying cleanly cracked back in that pot, for I could swear to the Allspark itself that you called the likes of Starskream akin to I. You see no difference in one Cybertronian to the next. You say, I shall explain to you the distinction. I would not end my brother were he standing on this beach. As for a Decepticon, I would relish in it. I would bleed him slow, watch his circuits spark and his photoreceptors dim, and I would feel no remorse or pain, only satisfaction, as his deeds unto our world were repaid in kind. I had brothers, but stood they on one side of the battlefield and not both?
Your way is yours, so take it then. It matters not in my hand, growing rusty and stiff in the cold air of caution and sense. Find the signal's origin, foe or friend, and report so back to me. Stay safe, brother. For you remain my last of home. A boy, not yet half a man. To him, war is still but a game. He is brave, braver than I'll ever be again, but that bravery is tempered not with wisdom. He knows no fear, which blinds him from the truth. His pursuit of glory only steers him further from peace's warm embrace. And down his road lays only tragedy. With that, I could warn him. But alas, he will not listen to me. For who I am, to him, but a figure of that war. The accursed war that raged when he arrived to this world, the war that's burned since our planet was first sculptured, bursted forth from the Allspark in flame of conflict and division. How could I, the warrior, the pride, speak of peace to him? That is why he does not know. That is why he cannot see the bounty he and I have been given. He will not accept the mercy we found here. He cannot hear peace's warm, sweet song as I can. He does not hear the silence, a sound most beautiful beyond compare. None else can match it, for their absence is what makes it sweet. No swords clash, no guns fire, no far-off explosions rock the ground, no warship engines roar overhead. The screams that echo across the field, begging my name for mercy, crying out my name in vain. That, I am free now. I have found my deliverance, and I am burdened not with guilt and suffering. They will not touch me, never again, for here I found my silence at last.
Hypocrisy! Thy name is Prime.
Who goes there? What desire you from me? Spirits of the fallen! Must you taunt me still? The war has ended, you are free.
Freedom will not come to us, for the war did not us chain. It was you instead, O Prime, that kept us here upon this plain. Your guilt is known to those cut down, the battle slaughtered, slashed, and stung. For all who fell upon the field had your name upon their tongue. From those that raged against your cause to those who gave you all their trust. The din that filled the fighting's air was that call of Optymus. Ah, Prime, we shouted, fight for Prime. Our voices hoarse and all but gone, ripping at each other's throats for your sweet song of Energon.
The Energon was scarce. I saw it almost strained if our world was to survive. We needed to unite behind the cause. They would not listen. There were beyond my reach those who needed Energon with such startling urgency that they would kill to feel its warm embrace again. If even for a moment. Then he arrived, and nimbly sculpted their fear. Their hunger shaped their hatred and desire to finally point its sickle, aimed squarely at my head. I did all that I could do, can you not see?
See what fruits your crime begets. Taste you now the crops you sown. Find it in you to admit the fault, for this is all your own. The Energon drunk up by war, those thousands perished for your crimes. Now you speak of peace is done.
Hypocrisy! Thy name is Prime!
Even now as wheels do turn, cold wings beat the gentle sky, enslaving wind for vicious end. As someone stronger, swifter flies, their very presence on this earth gives the natural order pause, for it does not expect a beast with laser beams in place of claws. Fight to fight become on the same when something soaring overhead decides that fleeing speaks it ill and turns its cannons low instead. Hypocrisy, thy name is prime.
The source of the signal should be here, and yet I find naught but open air. Where do you hide from me? If you are truly my brother, then we shall have no cause to clash. Your continued camouflage tells me the opposite then. The only motive you could have for this deception would be... If deception were your very nature, mystery, I name you Starskream.
The pet of Prime is my only companion upon this world. How droll indeed.
If think you me your companion, then left you your wits on Cybertron. Name me any reason I should not end you where you
Oh,
stand.
well, if amusement were my only goal, I should like to see you try. Your feeble flounderings at war always were my favorite part of battle. I'm sorry to say, but the situation present is far too bleak for James.
A guarded tongue would have made a better shield. You choose instead to toss your life away. So be
Oh,
it.
do not try that, for I would hate to kill you here before you've even heard me speak.
If you have yet to speak, then I must say this planet possesses a most peculiar winds, for they sound with the uncanny similarity like the banal yammering of a treacherous psychopath.
Wretch! You should know to better hold your tongue in the presence of your king.
Optimus Prime does not here stand, therefore I can conclude that you have lost your mind indeed.
If you serve him, the Prime, it seems, would live on still. An annoyance, pathetically small, but present nonetheless. One I must still rectify. Take up arms against him, and prove yourself a loyal subject of my dynasty.
I've listened to this prattle for too long, though our chats I've grown to love most dearly. I fear I must cut this one short, and with it your wretched Decepticon life.
For shame! The first I found lacks the wits to follow. No matter, there still exist 3 more signals for me to find. One, I learn, is Prime. The other 2 still promise hold. Their secrets may as of yet be some use.
You too track the signals 3. If the first was but your sorry hide, that leaves one remaining to discover. The other, I presume, is Maegatron. No doubt the wretched Hulk arrived with you.
That is where you failed, my friend. Although blame you I do not. You never were so concerned with what you could not shoot. And deduction is a finer weapon than a plasma gun. Maegatron lives on no more, I report with deepest sorrow. For as my king climbed aboard his pod, he was felled by Autobot treachery. A spy wrenched my beloved king from his deliverance. He fell, bruised and bloody, into my arms, and I cradled him as the spark flowed from his body. As the life did from him finally drain, he pulled my face close to his and whispered with his final breath, "Starskream, my faithful friend, I love you more than word can say, for though your loyalty I previously did question, I know now I was wrong. Hold my banner high and proud, and fight to carry on my name, ah!" And though the memory even now brings me to a tear, I soldier on through my suffering and pain, for that is what my king would want. Which is why I declare this new land new Cybertron, and I, the king of this place. Rejoice, my loyal subject, as the reign of Starscream Prime, the great and mighty. Oh, he of 100 mercies and 1,000 deaths, now begins.
Maegatron named you his successor.
He did.
Well, then it is you, Decepticon King, who is my true enemy indeed. Thank you, Starscream, for confirming my word since the beginning.
You blind yourself with visions of the past. We need not be enemies, but friends and allies. For this new land is one of opportunity. And opportunity need not be exploited by one alone. Decepticon, Autobot, what meaning have those now? The war is dead. Let you and I rise from its ashes.
You spoke of duality, and now it spouts from you yourself, for in this moment you sound like Optimus Prime.
Oh, Optimus Prime, the wise and mighty architect of peace. You all cling to his words as if you were adrift at sea. And by somehow repeating the glib pleasantries of your fearless leader, you'll find your deliverance from the rising waves. His words, I tell you, do not float. They serve as a poor raft, for water seeps between his inconsistencies and pools in the hollowness within, each leak in his logic exposing yet another until you've sunk far below the surface, daylight long forgotten. Oh, but worry not about the deep, choking blackness, about the inescapable pressure that crushes your armor and shatters your servos, for the great Optimus Prime tells you that you bob gently still atop the waves. You name me Decepticon. Optimus is the true deceiver. The war was his design, after all. For all of his whinging of violence's fatal toll, what was his first response to challenge? War. He and Maegatron both the fools, despite all they claim to have done for Cybertron. In the end, they were the ones who turned to ash. And for what? For the people? Optimus cares not for the people, no more than Maegatron did. One who fights to be king does not do so if he does not wish to be king. And there are none who wish to be king that do so for the people's sake. It's the beautiful lie, Bumbylbe, that keeps you fighting. The greatest deception of all, and you perform it on yourself. The illusion that you fight for something noble and true, that there is such a thing as a cause. Well, I ask you, noble warrior, defender of Energon and savior of the people, where is the cause? Where is Cybertron at the end of it all? Both sides claim to fight for her protection. If the war is over, should she not be protected? Aye, perfectly protected. Never has a pile of ash been so safe and secure. We do not fight for a cause, Autobot. We fight for an ego. We lay down our lives so that the minds of narcissists may be put at ease. Not anymore. We need fight no more wars, B. We need shed no more blood, wage no more battles. Prime's false promises could for once ring true.
Claim you 1 minute to love Maegatron, the next you spite him. Without a second thought, your words lack weight, you conviction. What makes that you, if not a deceiver?
You cannot blind yourself to the truth much longer. Any lies you think I tell, I assure you, have sprung from Prime's mouth tenfold more in volume. In all respects, barring insignia, he and Maegatron be the very same.
I have heard enough of this! Your death is a sweetness I have been too long denied. No more!
Bumblebee, return at once. I found the signals trail, and I know now the truth of the war.
At once, my king, as soon as I dispose of the filth before me. Starscream lives, though not for long.
No! No more death, Bumblebee. Return at once to me.
Run along, Bumblebee. Do your duty. Poor fool. All that he devotes to Prime he could use to raise himself. Oh well. It's a pity all do not share my wisdom, else they would have unshackled themselves as did I.
If all the Cybertron shared your wisdom, then its destruction would have come long before the war.
I thought he spoke in jest. But it seems that this planet's winds do indeed play tricks upon the auditory sensor.
Was it wind that you flung from the escape pod, Starscream? Mere whirling air that you betrayed and left for dead? If so, then I misremember much.
Oh, Master! Oh, King of the Decepticons, this day is joyous indeed, for you live to fight another day. Together we shall rise and destroy the Autobot swine once and for all. Then the world shall be yours, and the cosmos will echo with the cry of Megatron!
Rise, you idiot! You should have known that your attempt to betray me would have been as feeble as any of your other efforts.
Master, I did not mean. Well, that is to say, in the moment I...
Cease your scrambling for an excuse. It pains me to watch the effort you exert trying in vain to spin the rusted cogs of that crippled clockwork mind of yours. Silence yourself and listen. Your betrayal came to me as no surprise. Did not you mount too many times to keep account an insurrection against my name? Recruiting the lowest of the low, garbage, that made even you seem mediocre when to them compared. to launch innumerable vain attempts to seize my crown. Each time I struck you down, rose you again to my side, groveling and crowing of my exalted brilliance, never waiting long before betraying me anew. Do you know why I kept you, a serpent, as my lieutenant for so long?
Simple, O triumphant one. I'm your greatest warrior, your gleaming blade in the shadow of the night. I am death. I am terror. I am Starskream.
Back to your knees, you insufferable fool. I was a king. The rightful king of Cybertron, warlord of the Decepticons. A king cannot be weak. I took great pains never to be so myself. Never in my rule did I allow that fatal touch of complacency to cloud my concentration. No sense of ease or security stood in my judgment's path. For as alert as I was to the Autobots' movements, I stood twice as wary of treachery from you. You kept me sharply focused every second of the war, and had we had the time, that focus would have brought us victory. But alas, that was not to be. For on that day when the ground shook and cracked beneath me, and heard I the call that cried out the end, that was when my concentration slipped. When you finally gained the upper hand, and as you rose, I felt within me something new. For that day you filled me with a raging fire, an all-consuming passion to see you torn to scrap, to peel back your chest plate and tear out your spark myself. That rage bestowed on me a strength and purpose. Transformed did I, and rose into the sky. I followed you until your pod burned out, and followed you still when you turned your wings and found this pathetic speck. You I tracked across the cosmos with my engines alone, fueled not by Energon, but the vision of you laying here before me, completely at my mercy. And now that I have you here, now that your life belongs to me in whole, I fail to see the point.
What?
Killing you will make no difference. Our home is gone.
Yes, my liege, destroyed by Autobot folly.
Cease your sycophancy and sit with me, Starskream. The Autobots share no more blame than we.
I know the war's truth just as well as you.
What truth is that, my king?
The truth you spoke somewhere between naming yourself Prime and drowning in extended metaphor. The truth that we who rule do so not for you, but us. I wish to rule. I did not need to, but I wanted it. And so I did. I saw the people starving and saw their need for salvation. No, not salvation. I looked out at the desperate hordes and saw that I could be their savior. Glory I saw, worship I saw, and I wanted it all.
But you, they followed all the same. Were not you satisfied?
More than mere satisfaction, it was power. Pure and perfect. So bright at times I felt I may go blind, those blades awaiting my every command. Oh, Starskream. Words can do it not justice. As one who never felt it, you cannot know there was not for lack of trying. But blinding, yes. That brightness was indeed stealing sight from all those that followed me in number, in which I count myself a part of. I was no king, for there was no cause. That's no acrid word in which my sins might stew.
I do not, my liege.
So many years of questioning and undermining, and all it took was this to silence you.
So many deaths upon your hands. Know you truly what you've done?
I know it all too true. The names of those whose lives I lost are etched deep within my core. Shockwave, ravage, frenzy, soundwave, rumble, spectro. I know every fallen name, every form they took, everything they left behind when they joined me in my crusade. They pledged to me their lives, and I took them without a thought. They are mine and mine alone, their vow binding from now until eternity. Any who would take them from me will be met with swift riposte, for those lives are all I have in this world, and they shall not be stolen so easily. Not until Cybertron stands again. For I, the architect of peace, became the draftsman of destruction, the rising tide of fire and fury, whose wrath can have no obstacle. And now you've led me here at last. And all I can say is thank you.
You thank me? For my betrayal?
I thank you. You've guided me to this place and to the final signal. For as you and I still live, so do Bumbylbe and Prime, leaving just one final blip upon the scanner's monitor. I owe it to myself and you to find the final signal source, for with my escape so comes my true duty. To right the wrongs I have enacted. Now do I rise? Will you stand again beside me?
Yes. A moment, please, then by your side I'll be once more. You know not what I've just heard. What man is this? Surely not Maegatron. What has become of the snarling, savage beast I knew? Of he who tore Jazz limb from limb, crushing Autobot defenses at Sector 7 base? The harbinger of doom himself, the warrior of conquest. The shadow of his fury loomed across the battlefield, turning hardened men of war into weeping widows quaking in their boots. But this man is one I've never seen, one I do not recognize. Perhaps Maegatron did die in truth the night that I pulled him from his pod. Perished did he with the rest, and a changeling dove to take his place. Shockwave, could that you be? This stinks indeed of your treachery's brand. Or perhaps the ever-watchful Spectro. I see your scheme, whoever you may be, but I shall not be fooled. You tracked me here and took the master shape to trap me in some fatal plan. I warn you now, it will net you nothing. But Spectro was too much a dunce to carry out such complex thought. And Shockwave died, I know too well, fighting by my side at Kaon. But most of all, his voice rang true. That is Maegatron. It can only be. That voice that I heard my whole life long, bringing orders and abuse. Starscream, it rang it out. Back in line. The voice that bred in me revolt. The voice that I hated more than any Autobot alive. That haunted my dreams and drove me near to madness. I know that voice better than my own. One I never thought I'd know again. And yet here he stands. And when I heard him once again, I felt no hatred to my surprise, but peace. A strange feeling peace. One that I had come to hate. An empty word I thought used only as the fuel for war. A hood pulled over the eyes of fools to blind them to the truth of it all. And yet when I heard my name, spoke again by that most hated voice, I felt no enmity. I felt only trust. Trust was never much between us shared, for which I admit my share of fault. But to hear him speak it so, he and I are the only of our kind remaining. What point is there to being king above all dust? None at all. He's not a beast defanged, but a man who knows the truth. The truth I spoke without belief, empty words that I threw in vain at Bumbylbe to woo him to my side. But there are no sides anymore. There's no them and us. Only me. And him. Maegatron, I come now to your side. Let us rise.
War, they say, brings change to those that fight upon its field, building the tenacity in them to never yield. But for a race that lives for war, the frenzy and the storm, war is like a welcome friend that keeps them known and warm. Purpose they must fill. So what becomes of such a race when the fighting is done? When peace arrives at last, what must they become? True change is a winding road that stretches beyond our times. Those strong enough to follow find solace in their crimes. But not all men accept the change and thresh against the tide, hoping to reclaim the war, to calm the storm inside. While this man may desire peace, his soul remains on fire, and finds instead the thing he seeks is battle's holy pyre. Consumed by fury he can't name, he'll lash out and withdraw. A brutal dance takes place inside, his rage will show its claws. Try as he might, he cannot feel war's rhythmic smooth embrace. And soon enough he falls away, he's lost without a trace. True change is a winding road that stretches beyond our times. Those strong enough to follow find solace in their crimes.
I should have known Starskream would survive. Too smart by half was he to perish in the flames.
To hear him tell it was half lacked by Maegatron.
Says he Maegatron was left behind. I do not believe it for a moment. The skills he holds are far too strong to let him die.
Have you this much love for the Decepticons that you sing their praises at any mention?
I do not love them, but respect them for any danger treated not as such doubles upon its discounting.
Hold you no other Autobots in such esteem that you would guess that they survived the war as well, or are Decepticons only worthy of such honors?
The Autobots were strong. It is true, but relied on me too much. Their deaths are my yoke to bear.
You put yourself wholly at fault. Why then absolve Maegatron of guilt?
Maegatron was my creation too. In my hubris, I believed that I could rule Cybertron and carry her to a brighter dawn. I pushed Maegatron aside to achieve my goal. Knowing him as I did, I should have guessed his rage would only build. Our home drowned in flame. I know now that it was I that struck the match.
What's been done to you? Why speak you in this way? The task ahead is clear. While Decepticons still live, the war is not yet over.
What's been done? I realize the truth at last. The truth from which I hid all these long years. The war was a folly, my folly. See you that not? Feel you not the eyes of the dead upon us even now?
Repent and talk to your content. It shall not change what's been performed.
Try you may to share the burden, as these visions stay but yours.
I feel no gaze but yours, Optimus. The only ghosts I know haunt my central processor. Those friends I could not save from Decepticon treachery.
He does not know, he cannot see. If war's truly dreadful reaching scope,
He sees only what he's known, what brought him through the battle's fire.
The war was black and white and pure. Those who ascribe it meaningless weight detract from its true horrors. I saw friends struck down in fields of glass. They perished not at your hands, but at the enemy's. The stupid, blind enemy, not wise enough to hear your voice, the voice that brought us meaning, clarity, the voice that spoke not but good sense and inspiration. What I'd give to hear that voice again instead of what speaks to me now. We fought for you not because we were blind, but because you let us see.
It was not you who were blind, but I.
He cannot let you slip away. If you were wrong, then what was he?
None but fools follow the blind. Jazz was not a fool. Ratchet was not a fool. Prowl and Ironhide were no fools. I fought with them. I bled with them. I nearly died with them. And you would have me think that they followed a blind man to their ends. I am not a fool, Optimus. I know of little past war, but I know that much. I know the meaning of the badge I wear. It names me Autobot. I am an Autobot, shield of the weak and sword of the righteous. If that name means nothing, then nothing is what I am. Do you see me, Optimus? Do you hear me speak? Do you feel me here in front of you? I am not nothing. I am an Autobot. You were not blind before, but it seems you are now. We've reached the signal.
Proceed with caution, then. Violence must not be our answer today.
The signal emanates from a near yet hidden source. Wherever it is, it stands alone.
Spoke with too much haste. What new sounds are these?
Two inbound unknowns closing fast. One of them is Starskream, of that I have no doubt. The other remains to me as yet obscured.
I warned you, did I not? Of danger not treated such.
At doubles its threat upon discounting. Still parrot you the words of Alpha Trion, Optimus, after all this time?
Our mentor's words ring true today, as they did back in our youth. Name yourself a threat, Maegatron.
I name myself nothing.
If hesitant you are to ascribe yourself a title, then allow me the labor. You are a menace, a most definite threat. We should silence you here and now if we have any sense at all. And you, Starskream, a duplicitous liar as ever. What of your tragic tale of your master's demise?
Well, his survival was to me a shock, I assure. But I fell back to his side once again. For let no man alive name Starskream unloyal.
Not just men, but women too. And children cast their scorn on you.
And what of your sweeping declaration that you should serve no king but yourself?
He serves no king still.
So question even you his loyalty.
He stands at my side, but serves no king. For no true king am I, nor do I claim to be. The rule I held was over Cybertron, but Cybertron stands no more, thanks to my short-lived reign. Why should I, a king, be named when the dust and ashes of my kingdom fell through my fingers as they did? Starscream stands with me now as not a servant, but a friend.
A touching sentiment indeed, but it is not believed for a moment. Shall I dispatch them, Optimus? My blades have stood sheathed for too long.
Let them stand a little longer, Bumbylbe.
What?
Let there be no bloodshed this day. We've seen much already.
Do not Maegatron and Starscream stand before us, the war's two most powerful engines, completely at our mercy?
Certain are you that it is us at your mercy? For I see before me not but a broken old man and his yapping dog. Both easily...
Starscream. Prime speaks true.
What?
Of the war this, of the enemy that. Do you think in no other terms? It consumes your every function. No speech have you uttered since our arrival, but words of war. Have you no notion of what occurs around you even now? Life, unlike anything we've seen, surrounds us, soft and small. This is a land of wonder, of incomprehensible oceans and towering spires of stone. There is beauty here, the likes of which I've never known. Yet the only thought of which you're capable of is war. Find peace.
Before You are consumed. Never did I think I'll hear those words from you again, Maegatron.
Perhaps you spoke right. Our dear departed mentor's words are not as dusty as I thought.
If not war, then why you show your faces here?
We seek the same as you, the final signal source.
Have you any clue its identity?
We know but as much as you, not a thing.
Bold of you to assume that we know nothing.
Is it?
If all here know not of the signal, then let's put aside our murderous urges and work to find its source.
Think you are a survivor? A Decepticon it must be.
An Autobot just as likely.
A Cybertronian in any case.
The signal source is very near. Only a hair's breadth from where we stand.
Scanner places it. There.
More japes? Starscream, I warn you now!
He speaks true. My scanner reads the same.
And where is the source? Hiding, are you?
Perhaps a Decepticon indeed.
Decepticon! Autobot? It matters not! For here we find our signal source. A hand. Its owner yet unknown. Connected to its beacon still, it broadcasts a message of distress. How long till now? I cannot say.
If past a day or 20 years, it matters not. The truth is thus, that none but us remain alive.
A warrior until the last were you. I can only wish you peace upon your journey into the well of the Allsparks. Once more, my friend, onto that breach. Find yourself a final peace.
Touching sentiment indeed, but then I've never had the words.
You did before. Perhaps you can again.
You speak of Alpha Trion's wisdom.
I do. Remember you what the old man said.
Easier, I think, to remember what he did not say. For though his voice was often soft, the volume of his words was overpowering.
Let us cast our blades aside and let battle be our duty no longer.
While keeping peace our only goal. His words will never leave me, brother.
Nor will I, brother.
A burial's well deserved, I think.
Let us find a spot and put our fallen comrade to rest.
Brother,
What say you, Bumbylbe?
you name him brother.
I do.
This man, no. This beast. This snarling, savage thing that tore Jazz to pieces while he begged for mercy, that turned Sector 7 and every soldier in it. Prowl's killer, Ironhide's killer, Ratchet's killer, Prime. He is a murderer. He is a serpent. He is Maegatron, and you name him brother?
You speak as though your hands are clean, Autobot. As if it was not you who gunned down Spectro as he fled and slit Shockwave's throat from behind at Kaon. The war was that. A war. I'd have thought you knew that, having heard as did we all your crowing from the mountaintops of the latest Decepticon you'd slain. Upon the close of every battle. Point not your words at me again, boy, for you may find more pointed back at you in return.
Enough of this, both of you. Maegatron, the burial awaits. The road to peace lays but a step away, but we must take that step together. Bumbylbe, I have not the words for you. I've said all that I can. Remain here till my return, I beg of you. Maegatron.
Let us go.
Thinks he himself a leader? Thinks he that this is peace's end? Peace comes not from niceties and weakness. Peace is not a balance, but is a silencing. The war isn't over when someone tires of fighting. The war is over when the enemy is beaten and destroyed. The enemy is not destroyed if he lives on. He lays in wait. How does he not see this? He speaks of mentors. Well, he was mine. What I practice, I learned from him. What I say came first from his mouth, and yet he spurns me. Time and time again. I know that I am not a fool, and so I follow not the blind. You push and push and push too far. Hypocrisy, thy name is prime.
Bumblebee, wait!
Fear and rage, like love and hate, are at their centers bound. If one is turned upon its head, the other can be found. Something feared a long time ago will soon inspire rage, just as love can feel like hate when at a certain age. A man who knows himself by heart will find in him the truth. But someone who sees not his fear will not seek out its proof. He hides his heart behind his shield, for but a boy is he. And boys will fight before they'll speak, and never truly see. A man born into battle is soon stripped of all he knows, and finds he's never comfortable in plain civilian's clothes. That man whose identity is balanced on his blade will never feel the comforts of peacetime that he made. Two paths are therefore battle born, two versions of his life, one of calm prosperity and one of deathly strife. If he gives into the tide of peace's lapping waves, he'll find a new long journey that will his poor soul save. But if he cannot find himself, the other path he'll find, where the war still rages on, but only in his mind. He'll fight with as much fury as he ever had before. But this time fighting family, his friends are now his war. A man born into battle is soon stripped of all he knows, and finds he's never comfortable in plain civilian's clothes. That man whose whole identity is balanced on his blade will never feel the comforts of the peacetime that he made. That man.
What is this? I meant not to do it. What have you wrought?
Bumblebee. I thought his mind was clouded, that he knew not what he did. How could he do it? Call Maegatron a brother? He must have been mad. So it went in my mind. He needed my help. So I ran to him, as I always did when he needed me, as all of us did. I thought if Maegatron was slayed, at last he would see. See what war truly meant. How wrong I was. How stupid. 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 I ran to them. I drew my blaster finally. It felt so right in my hand in that moment. I'd known it not before, but my hand felt light since my arrival here. In that moment, it had weight again. In that moment, I was whole. I took aim at Maegatron, my gun trained squarely on his back. I called to him, shouted out a name. A brother of mine, a soldier long fallen, one whose head I cradled in my arms as his spark faded, one whom I had mourned for so long, but to tell it truly, I remember not the name. I remember not the name I shouted as I fired, for it was not my brother in my moment of thought. Only him, only the enemy, only Maegatron. But they turned. Upon hearing my vengeful call and saw them both, the fire in my eye, and as I launched the killing shot, time seemed to slow. As though frozen in a memory, I stood and watched as the bolt flew towards the traitor's chest. And stand and watch did I, as Optymus leapt without a second thought into the bullet's path. Stand and watch was all I could do. As he crumpled to the ground at Maegatron's feet, there he lay, leader of the Autobots, hero of Cybertron, in a pile before his enemy and closest friend. Maegatron unsheathed his weapon, that awful instrument that had played the deaths of so many I once loved. But he did not raise it. He looked at me with hatred in his eyes, our eyes locked, our mouths screwed shut. There was nothing else to do. I fired again, and he fell. And thus, the war was over. I did my duty. Did I not, Starskream? Did I not my duty?
What you did here, I cannot say. Duty, vengeance, war, and peace, all these are but words, Bumbylbe. Useless, empty words, flying back and forth above our heads. I'm done with words, Bumbylbe. They serve no purpose now.
What vision is this? How did you arrive?
Barred were we from death complete, and watched have we since you arrived.
And now that you've begun the war, you can finally see the truth.
But the war is finally at its end, is it not? Did I not my duty? Answer me. Please, did I not my duty?
Violence is your duty, true.
When peace remains your only goal.
My goal was peace, I swear it. And now it's arrived. Maegatron is no more. The war is gone. It's all gone. I made it all go away. All of it now. Only peace remains.
Call it peace? What you have done? Be this the taste of victory. To hear from you, you've won your goal. Hail the hero, Bumbylbe.
Mock me not. Ask me what I've done, see it here. What have I done? What have I done?
Before time began, when Cybertron was made anew, and the war was fought for naught, there was no difference found between Decepticon and Autobot. And yet in that war, in time they grew to hate each other, for reasons that are countless, and in the end they found that those were mostly trite and groundless. But now we've reached the bitter end of this plastic Oresteia, bereft of human names familiar, Michaela, Megan, Sam, and Shia. The only thing unspoken still is that eponym most bold, that awesome epic title of those warriors of old. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the rival forces of the Decepticons. Stand and fight against the choking power of the Autobots. Transformers, last ones of their kind. Transformers, all that's left behind. Autobots scan the stars most desperately. They're gone and fallen friends. The Decepticons long for any aching echo of their shattered home. More than meets, more than meets,